I'm a big proponent in personal narrative, memoir, autobiography writing of staying in the moment in your scenes. There are times in a larger book project when you will be in the perspective of the author today, reflecting back. But it's important when you're to writing detailed scenes to make us feel like we're right there in the moment. And here's a good example of this. I'm not going to read it out completely. I just want you to pause this video and read this on your screen. And then I'm going to comment on what I see happening in this piece. So this was written by a beginning personal narrative writer, and he's obviously taking the perspective of a child. At the time, he was probably 21, 22 years old when he wrote this. But there is a feeling in the word choice, in the sentence structure, that this is written by a naive child, not an adult, reflecting on what happened 20 years ago, but really as a child. And I like that feeling. It's only about what the author saw or felt in that moment from this naive child perspective. Secondly, it goes into great detail. We know by the end of this, too, from all those details, that there's an earthquake. And it's hitting a temple and I think it's in India. I'm not sure exactly, but there's this temple that he's in, and it's hitting. Now he could have, and a lot of beginning writers will write, there was this time I experienced an earthquake, or there was an earthquake one day at temple, and then give the details of what happened. But what I like here is by not saying anything about earthquakes, just showing the details of what's happening from his perspective in that moment. Any reasonably aware reader is going to make that conclusion. They're going to go, earthquake. Wow, earthquake. Without being told that it's an earthquake. And I think that's a nice little touch. It makes a connection with the reader. The reader becomes involved in this. And it all comes from those specific details that he puts in about what he saw. It still needs editing. It still needs revision. There's some issues there. But I do like the use of often short sentences. So when you have these big actions like an earthquake, a fight, and so on, it's often good to put those things into very simple declarative sentences, not complicated things, but just short little sentences as they do. Short little actions, moving, jumping, whatever it is. And so the form really matches the situation. Again, it can be some editing here. There's some things that we could fix. But I think it's a really good example of staying in the moment and using great detail to imply the bigger picture of what is happening.